Coming up this week, the Porsche Taycan makes history. Honda unveils 5 new EVs. A video shows the Rivian R1T pickup truck in deep water, and more. Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 81 of the EV Resource Podcast. I'm Zach Hurst, and each week I bring you the latest EV news, information, and answers to your questions about electric vehicles. Before we get started with the news this week, I want to thank our podcast partner, Titan Auto and Tire in Moseley, Virginia, for their support. Titan is one of the very few independent shops in Central Virginia that are qualified to work on EVs, and from hybrids to Hummers, they fix everything. For more information and to schedule an appointment for your vehicle, go to TitanAutoTire.com. That's TitanAutoTire.com. Starting us off this week is a pair of stories about the Porsche Taycan. Racer.com shares, for the first time ever in International Motorsports Association history, an electric vehicle served as the series safety car. A Porsche Taycan Turbo S led the field to the green flag at the Michelin GT Challenge at VIR this weekend. IMSA President John Doonan said, quote, IMSA is proud to join our partners at Porsche to have the Taycan Turbo S as the safety car for the WeatherTech Championship this weekend. It's an amazing car and fits nicely with the IMSA Green Initiative that our organization has endorsed and continues to emphasize. As we have seen with the overwhelming response to the LMDH prototype hybrid class that debuts in 2023, as well as the ETCR car demonstration earlier this year, IMSA is focused on new and cleaner technologies for the future. Having the Porsche Taycan Turbo S as our safety car at VIR will put on display the potential for taking advantage of these technologies in areas we haven't gone before, end quote. Using 2 electric motors, the car produces 750 horsepower with a top speed of 161 miles an hour, certainly good enough for the track. The car was previously used in IMSA's Hot Lap program at Long Beach, where it was the first electric car to serve in that capacity. Let's watch and listen to a brief clip from the broadcast where the announcers introduced the car to the audience.
We've got some fast cars coming through from the back of the grid. We've got a particularly fast and quiet car at the front of the grid as well. For the first time in IMSA competition history, pacing the field to the green flag is the Porsche Taycan Turbo S, over 700 horsepower, electrically brought to all 4 wheels of that car. I drove one at Daytona a couple of years ago. It has the lowest centre of gravity of any Porsche and the lowest CD as well, the lowest drag coefficient. It is a proper Porsche. It just happens to be powered by something other than an internal combustion engine.
It's nice to see EVs at the front of major motorsports, at least in a way. Now we just need to get the Taycan racing in the pack with the rest of them. The Taycan is making the news with other success this week as well. CNBC reports sales of the Porsche Taycan surpassed those of the company's influential high-performance 911 series, according to the numbers the company released Friday. Deliveries of the Taycan hit 28,640, and deliveries of the 911 sports car hit 27,972 during the same period. So without a doubt, Porsche has a hit on their hands. The question remains, though, what will they do with it? Time will tell. Reuters shares this week that the U.S. commercial electric vehicle maker ELMS, or Electric Last Mile Solutions, on Thursday said that they had signed a battery supply deal with China's Contemporary Amperex Technology Company Limited, or commonly referred to as CATL. Financial terms of the deal, which runs through 2025, were not disclosed. CATL's batteries power the Class 1 small delivery vehicle that ELMS began building last month at its plant in Mishawaka, Indiana. The companies are also exploring a setup where CATL would have a U.S. plant that would make the battery cells and ship them to the ELMS plant in Indiana for assembly into battery packs, an ELMS spokesperson said. In a statement, Ram Song, ELMS deputy CFO, said, quote, "We've reached an important milestone to secure battery capacity with an extremely challenging supply environment," end quote. Under the deal with ELMS, CATL will provide lithium iron phosphate, or LFP, batteries using a cell-to-pack technology. The LFP chemistry, as most of you probably know, is less expensive and considered safer than cobalt or nickel-based cathodes in other battery chemistries. And we did an article on ELMS for the EV Resource magazine back in February, so it's really great to see that they are doing well and progressing with their plans. Honda has introduced 5 new EV models for China. No surprise there. China is the world's largest market for EVs, so if you're going to start a serious EV push somewhere, it makes sense to do it there. CarScoops reports the upcoming EVs will be part of the E:(N) series, and the first 2 models will go on sale next spring. The company also envisions exporting some of these vehicles, but there's no word on specifics at this point. Regardless, the EN series embraces the motto of dynamic, intelligence, and beauty. The vehicles will ride on a dedicated EN architecture and feature a unique design philosophy. Honda didn't say much about the platform, but noted that there will be 3 different versions of the architecture that allow for front-wheel drive, rear-wheel drive, and all-wheel drive configurations. The first 2 models to arrive are known as the ENS1 and the ENP1 and appear to be based on the new HR-V. Both are crossovers that feature a similar design that incorporates a fully enclosed grille, slender headlights, and a minimalist interior. And speaking of the latter, the models have a digital instrument cluster and a massive infotainment system with a portrait orientation. Since the infotainment display is so large, it has been broken up into 3 different sections, with the bottom portion reserved for climate controls. Honda didn't go into many specifics about the vehicles, but they did confirm that the ENS1 and ENP1 will have a range in excess of 311 miles. The models will also be able to accelerate from 0 to 62 miles per hour in less than 8 seconds. The stars of the event, however, were the EN Coupe, the EN GT, and the EN SUV concepts. All 3 preview upcoming production models and have a similar design that emphasizes and potentially, in my opinion, exaggerates sharp lines, slender lighting units, and angular surfaces. They're certainly futuristic, and the production models are slated to arrive in the next 5 years, but don't expect them to look anything like these prototypes. The focus on EVs honestly isn't surprising, as Honda used the event to announce that all models introduced in China after 2030 will be electrified. So there you've got an announcement that's almost a decade away, and they're saying the word electrified, which means they're also going to be offering hybrids. They're not going to be full battery electric vehicles. LG has finally reached a deal with GM to pay $1.9 to $2 billion to reimburse the automaker for the cost of recalling Chevy Bolt EVs due to the risk of battery fires. The automaker, which announced the deal in a statement early Tuesday, says it will show the estimated recovery in its third quarter earnings that will offset charges for the recalls. In August, GM expanded a previous recall to include more than 140,000 Bolt EVs sold worldwide since 2016 because of a battery manufacturing defect that could and did cause a few of the vehicles to catch fire. And when I say a few, I believe the total at this point is up to 13. So it is certainly something that happened in very rare cases. In September, GM did resume production for the battery modules used in the recalled Bolt hatchbacks and SUVs, and customers could start getting replacement parts by mid-October, which would be right about now. So we'll see. GM said in a statement that LG of Korea is a valued and respected supplier to the Detroit automaker, saying, quote, "Our engineering and manufacturing teams continue to collaborate to accelerate production of new battery modules, and we expect to begin repairing customer vehicles this month," end quote. The battery fires and recalls have been somewhat of an embarrassing setback for GM, and honestly has kind of put a black mark on really all EVs in a way. You know, it's certainly given some fuel to those that are skeptics and spreading the fear, uncertainty, and doubt about electric vehicles. But hopefully with this fix and now getting reimbursed, GM will certainly be able to have the resources to put this behind them. Rivian CEO RJ Scaringe was showing off in a recent video posted to Twitter this week. It shows a Rivian R1T electric pickup truck wading through water nearly to the top of its hood in a recent engineering exercise. Rivian's website lists a wading depth of more than 3 feet, but as the saying goes, seeing is believing. And well, you can clearly see that this model is being put to the test. Rivian also quotes a 34-degree approach angle, a 29.3-degree departure angle, and a 25.7-degree breaker angle a maximum of 14.9 inches of ground clearance for the R1T pickup truck, which is its first production model for the retail market. So if you're going to go off-roading in an electric pickup truck, it looks like the R1T is certainly an excellent choice. And the last story I have for you actually is just a quick add-in. Tesla took to Twitter to share some photos of the first Model X deliveries of the year. The refreshed front end is absolutely gorgeous. I'm sure we'll see some news articles in the coming days with more information, so I will keep an eye out for you. So that is your show this week. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Share this with your friends and anybody that you know that might be interested in electric vehicles. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please leave a 5-star review or a 1-star, whatever you feel is appropriate, but leave a review. That way it'll help more people become aware of the EV Resource podcast. I do invite your feedback in always, especially via email to hello@ev-resource.com. You can always leave a comment on the YouTube video, and don't forget to subscribe. That way you'll get all the future shows delivered to you automatically. If you want to listen to any of the previous podcast shows, you can find them on our webpage under the podcast section and on pretty much all of the major podcast platforms at this point. So thank you so much for being with me, and I'll catch you next week.